All right, welcome back to a brand new video of the targeted individual program, target individual programming, target individual experience. So after I did the video today, the New York Predator Department and the Vehicle Department of New York engaged in a heavy noise campaign. And here, as I said, the word engage, you hear the car horn, right? So I want to tell you guys what they did. Now, I did the video where I show you how they had me on the brain entrainment, the BCI, where they basically hijacked my conscious mind, went into my book bag, took out my earbuds, took my earbuds case, look, sticking her fingers in her ears as she walked by, all right? And then took the earbuds that I have in my book bag, placed it in my pocket, all right? So when I got my PAM, went into my pocket to get my earbuds case, put my earbuds in, took out the case, opened the case to put my earbuds in, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? Why is there earbuds in this case? All right? And so I was like, hold up. So went back into my pants pocket again, there's nothing in there. And I realized what they did, because they've done it before. They've done it where I was in class. When I went back to college, I was in class. And so one of the students took my hoodie, right? I had a pea coat, right, with a detachable hoodie on it. So they took my hoodie right off my, the BCI me, brain entrainment. And then a year later, came over by Pam, walked into the apartment, and my hoodie was on the floor. All right, and I spoke to her about this shit. I said, I don't know who you're getting involved with or what have you, but let me tell you, you're gonna find out that they're just using your ass. All right, so anyway, I'm getting ready to leave. Got my pants, and was going to put my earbuds in my pants and reached down in the pocket, and guess what? The earbud case that was missing, that they took, was back in my pocket. Now, this happens after Pam came, because I went back and I checked to make sure. And here's the thing, right? When I go into my book bag has separate layers of pockets, right? When I get there, I go into my book bag. The only thing I go for is my glasses case, which is in one of the big pockets. My extra earbuds is in one of the small pockets, and I didn't go in there, okay? Until after I did the video, because then I needed to get another earbud case, because I have an earbud case in there that only have one earbuds in it, because when I was on the bus, one of my earbuds fell out of my ears and I couldn't find it. So I just I was like, I'll leave it. So, I went to use that that earbud case. I had to take out the single earbud case and then, use my earbuds that I had in my ears, because I didn't have the case anymore, because they stole the case from me, right? So, like I said, so I know it's Pam, and the reason why they do it again with her is because, she is part of this cult. Now, I want you to look, when they do stuff like this, they become very, very quiet, right? They don't target me as much, right, for that day, because again, the fact that, when you do things like this to people, right, maybe people in the past have gotten angry, have assaulted people because of what it is that they're doing. So I'm not placing my anger in terms of what they do to me on these perps, unless they physically attack me. So I'm not going to do that, okay? But what I am going to do is expose what it is that they're doing, because it's criminal and they know it. They know it, all right? So what you're going to see, and again, because I've been through this already, right, is a very, very subtle form of attack now. All right. Again, you know, whenever they expose, I expose them. This is what they do. Right. And you know, and I'm just like, wow, man. You know, and like I tell you, I wish and I hope somebody is doing the same thing back to them. And I hope they're getting their lick back 1,000%. Okay? You know what I'm saying? She's been lick back. I even know why I'm using that word. But I hope they get their, whatever, you know, they believe in karma. They karma 1,000 folds, right? 1,000 times fold, yes. So, like I said, man, this is why I do these videos, okay? This is why I do these videos. So I can explain what it is that they do, all right? And like I show you guys, I have my earbuds in my ears, all right? And I had taken the other, when I went into my pocket to get the case that I could put my earbuds in, open up the case, there were 2 earbuds in there already. I'm like, hold up, that's not right. And so then I looked in the bottom of the case, and it's it wasn't the US, because you know these cases have a USB-C. Let me see if I can show you guys. And then Ethan sent me a text, and he was like, "Oh, do you have a USB-C thing, what have you?" You know, I'm just like, I have to tell you how mind control works, right? All right. So you see right here, it has a USB-C cord attached to it. Now the other earbuds that I showed you in the video earlier doesn't have a USB-C. It has what is USB-A, okay? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I knew. And like I said, I went back into my pocket again. I was like, hold up, what? I'm like, I went back into my pocket multiple times. I have to do it, right? Just to make sure that, because I know what it is that they do, right? And sure enough, they gave it to Pam. She came in the house, and because she had called me she was like, oh, I have an appointment, all right? So I'm like, okay, to the doctor. I'm like, okay, what have you? All right, she came in the house, you know, she was talking to me. I wasn't really paying her any mind. And, you know, she went into her bedroom. So like I said, when I went into getting ready to leave, put my pants on, you know what I'm saying, I put my earbuds in my, you know, take out my earbuds, put it in my ears, gonna put the case into my pocket. I reached down to put it in my pocket, and I felt the other earbud. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But then I realized what was happening. I said, okay, yeah, they gave it to her, and she ended up putting it back into my pocket, because that's what they did with my hood, with my pea coat. Right? Literally, they do stuff like that. Right? Using hypnosis or what is called brain entrainment, particularly with BCI, they can hijack your consciousness. And of course, you know, when we talk about it, you know, people are going to be like, oh, you know, you're crazy and this and that, or what have you. No, there's a technology that can do it, and I can prove it. It's been documented, right, for decades now. Most people don't quite understand what's going on, all right? Most people don't understand that not only do they not have to microchip you to control you, right? They can do it through the radio wave microwave frequency, right? So they can affect whole areas of people in terms of their emotions, right? This is all documented. It's what they call emotional cloning, right? Because remember, all of our emotions, no matter who you are as a human being, operate on the same frequency, right? Happiness, sadness, nervousness, right? What's different about us is our consciousness. Each of us consciousness operates on a different frequency, okay? Right? So it's like, you know, your fingerprint, right? But this is what they call brain fingerprint, where they have been able to identify each of our consciousness because it operates in its own unique frequency. So for example, like I said, when we all touch, taste, smell, right? You know what? And when we do those things, you know, it's all on the same frequency, right? You know, the brain, the neurons in your brain that fires off the electrical signal, right? It's all on the same frequency. You know, our heart operates on the same frequency. You know, our organs, same frequency, right? What is different about us, like I said, is our consciousness, and they've been able to manipulate our consciousness. So when I talk about, emotional cloning, meaning that they have found the frequency in which all emotions operate on, and they can manipulate those emotions. All right? Technological advancement over the past 70 years in which they have been engaging in experimentation. So they're able to do that, right? And so, all of a sudden when Ethan texted me and he was like, do you have a USB to USB-C adapter? And I'm like, yeah, I should have a lot of those things, I begin to realize what it is that they're doing. All right? And then I went to use the bathroom, asked my daughter, I said, where's the wipes? She was like, it's on the floor. I was like, there's no wipes on the floor. She was like, yeah. She's like, I just used the bathroom and I put the wipes on the floor. All right? I go to the bathroom, I said, I said, listen, there's no wipes here. So she came in and she was like, I know I put the wipes on the floor, right? So again, showing me their capabilities and what they can do, right? Showing me how they can hijack, not just my consciousness, but other people's consciousness, children and so forth. And I've been talking about this stuff for decades now, for over 2 decades, right? Well, not over 2 decades, because in terms of my exposure to these things over the, I would say, a decade and a half. Okay, 1.5 decades. So, just the things that they can do in which we have yet to understand as black people, because again, I talk about how they keep us in the single digit when it comes to certain fields and industries, financial, technology, psychiatry, that sort of thing, because these are fields in which they have made major advancement, in which they have used to create wealth for themselves, right? And so they don't want us to be able to know these things. And there's very few black people who are actually knowledgeable about these things, okay? Very few black people are knowledgeable about these things. But hopefully that will change. Like I said, we as black people, we need to get our children into STEM. And this is why they're pushing, they're saying, well, you don't need an education and have, yes, you do. Yes, you do. We cannot continue to rely on these greedy bastards, all right, in terms of our livelihood. So we need younger people educated in certain things so that they can start businesses to employ other people, right? Right now, these elites, so what they're doing is that they're firing people. And even today, I think 4,000 people got fired from, I think, one of those tech companies also. So they, we replace them with AI. All right? And I keep saying, if you talk about the AI agenda, right, is that there will be an AI for every human being on this planet, and that AI will control you in ways that you cannot understand. You want to know why? Because they will microchip everybody, right? And that AI, using silent sound, will constantly hijack your consciousness and your subconscious mind, and will program it how it sees fit, or how whatever the programmers, how the programmers want you to be programmed. So imagine your own consciousness being manipulated by your own inner voice, your emotions being manipulated artificially, right? And this is what they are planning to do. And I keep saying, black people, the Negropeans going realizing they're going to understand what we as TI has been talking about, particularly when it comes to stuff like this, right? Because we want to believe in God, and God this and God that. But these people have developed technology in which they can manipulate our minds. Okay? And then here's the thing about it too, is that we have the Sambos and the Sambinas, the Negropeans, they walking by looking at the blue vehicle. Right? So, I think as I was leaving Pam apartment building, there's another blue vehicle that they, but anyway, it don't matter. Right? So again, exposing what it is that they're doing. And when I expose what it is that they did, they thought I wouldn't do a video about it, right? That's what they did. They thought, but I always do, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm consistent in what it is that I say and what it is that I show that's being done, just as they're consistent in how they target me. And this has allowed me to expose what it is that they're doing. Understand? But what they did today, and they do it, you know, every once in a while. Okay? It is a serious, you know, what they do is a serious violation of my rights. Human rights, civil rights, constitutional rights, what have you. Right? My sovereign mind, that they have no authority to manipulate, to change without my consent, right? To put things into my mind without consent, and then try to threaten me by sending me a file on my phone that says test, to say, well, you know, we can download shit on your phone and get you arrested for it. You know, this is the shit that they do. And I forgot to do that video too, but I did do a screenshot so I can show you guys. Later.
Please exit through the rear door. Please exit through the rear door.
So the next follow is being present.
কালকে আমি কাজ করবো কালকে আপনার অর্ডারে বলছেন অনেক বড় একটা ভুল অর্ডার দিয়েছে কিছু দেন